Well, hello, hello. And we back. Welcome back for another fun day of drawing and sketching and learning. Today is the 10th of June, and we are going to do more drawing. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what's on the agenda today. Let's think here for a minute. Well, and this is something that I would extend out there. If you all have maybe some thoughts of what you'd like to see me draw, I wouldn't have a problem with that. You could put it in the comments. I usually check my comment section more or less anyway. So, let me know. I mean, I'll be happy to accommodate if you like. Yeah. So let me know if there's something that you would like to see me draw. Uh, I'll be happy to do it. Don't have me draw anything naughty. So I want to do the right thing. But you know what I mean. It's like I don't have a problem taking requests. Also, too, some have asked me about commissions if I do that sort of thing, and I do actually. Um, so yeah, I could do that. Obviously, there's limitations on that as well. However, I'm happy to do it for you. A lot of times, I find myself people ask me to do characters that exist already. I'm not big on. I don't know a lot about game characters. I know something about it. One of my daughters is a big gamer, but if it's a character that you like in the gaming world, just let me know who it is, and I'll find it and draw it for you. And I charge for it a little bit. It depends on what it is, how involved it is, and I'd be happy to do color drawing for you that I can send you as a downloadable JPEG. Obviously, if you want something different from that, let's say if you wanted something that's actually drawn on paper, I can do that too. Though you get it quicker if I draw it digitally and send it to you that way. The digital artwork would be also a chargeable thing, but it once again would not be that much money. We're not talking about lots of money. It just depends on what it is you want me to do. Okay, there you go. All right, so um, let's see here. I was looking online the other day at some of the TikTok thing. I didn't. Well, it wasn't TikTok actually that I was looking at, but it was a young fellow who was talking about TikTok art. Um, People who do tutorials, I guess, on TikTok. And I thought what he had to say was really good. I don't remember the young fellow's name, but he was quite good. And I wanted to comment on it because most of what I've seen in the way of instruction online, particularly on YouTube, is a lot of times the stuff is it's done kind of quickly. There's not a lot of clear explanation, in my opinion, to what it is the artist is doing. It isn't. I know being a teacher myself that it isn't always easy to explain how you do what you do to people. So I get that. Um, but as over the years, I've sort of learned. I like to think I've gotten better at it. Um, there are just a lot of things that obviously, when you reach a certain level as an artist, it becomes easier for you to do those things, and then you don't really think about what it is you're doing, so you just do it, you know, um, instinctively, obviously. But being able to describe what it is you do and why it looks the way it looks is very helpful to folks who haven't done that or are in the process of learning that. One of the things that I find that I would think would be a difficult thing to wrap one's head around is constructing a character or constructing something where you understand that it's dimensional. You're understanding that you're looking at a three-dimensional thing. You're depicting a three-dimensional thing on a two-dimensional surface. And I do have a video I did a while back called "Creating Three Dimensions in Your Drawing," and I go to and I explain in I think in pretty good detail what I'm doing when I do that. Um, what it comes down to is drawing from life and really observing what it is you're looking at. And this is one of the reasons why life drawing is so important. It's one of the reasons, not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why life drawing is so important, because you're drawing an action, especially if you're drawing an actual person in front of you, because you can move your head and you can see how parts of the body or the face or whatever, what's happening in perspective, what's going on. Um, because that's really it. You're starting to, you're learning something about the three dimensions and how to depict those three dimensions. And so that's really what it comes down to, is understanding that process of how to depict three dimensions or how to create three dimensions. Like for instance, if you're looking at this drawing that I have of this young fella here that I'm drawing, you'll see that I have his eyes. One eye is slightly larger than the other. Well, that's coming from the fact that I understand that the head is round and that we're looking around the head. We're looking around and we're seeing more than one side of the head as it turns in space. And even when I'm putting hair on the head, or I'm putting other things like eyebrows or cheeks or whatever, I can sort of, where I'm putting my lines can indicate or give an impression of that the head is rounded, that it has dimension to it. What used to always kind of amazed me when I was a young artist was how some artists could just draw things and they could achieve this dimensional effect with just a few lines. That always sort of amazed me. Or it was the where they put the intensity of their line to give it a certain effect. To me, that was like a magical thing. It's like I just wonder, wow, how do they know where to put that line, or, you know. So it's just becomes something that you just, as you learn and as you draw and you practice more, it becomes easier and easier and easier for you to do it. Don't cheat yourself out of life drawing. I would just say that I understand that a lot of folks maybe don't want to take the time to do the life drawing and to do all the things you need to do. I really don't think there's any shortcuts to becoming a very capable artist. I think that if you want to be good and you want to understand what you're doing, you need, life drawing is one of those things. I think you're just going to have to do it. You need to go to a life drawing session. You need to be in a room with other artists and a teacher and a live model that you're drawing. This separates the men from the boys. Okay. Copying stuff you see other people do, seeing it online, reference that you can trace over. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that these things aren't good or that they don't help you. They do. And you can get a lot from that. But the great artists of old, the reason why they were great was because they had to work very hard to understand what they were looking at, how it had to be created, what needed to happen for things to work. How did they get light and color accurate? They studied it, they watched it, they went outdoors. Probably some of them before they had cameras. What did they have to do? They'd sit out there and paint in the real world. The sculptors, they had to, I mean, it was a lot harder than what we have to do. We have all these wonderful things today to make our lives easy, but the reality is, you can't create well when you don't have a connection with life. as artists, we're making a connection with life around us, and you're putting that, you're communicating that into your work. Um, so anyway, take it for what it is. You know, if it's something that you want to listen to this and you want to believe that it's actually going to be good for you, great. Obviously, no one can force you to do the hard work that would need to be you need to do to get there. But the reality is there is no shortcut to doing this stuff well. The people who do it the best either have an innate talent and ability to just grasp what they see quickly, or they're willing to put in the time and the effort and the work to get it. That's really it. They either have the talent to do it, like I said, an innate ability, they just learn fast, they pick things up quickly, or they go through a lot of, or it's a combination of both. I mean, most of us, I think it's a combination of both. I think most artists have an innate ability to draw and create, but they have to improve on that. When you're a little kid, in my case, I was very young. My parents saw that I could draw. They saw I had artistic inclinations, and so they stoked the fire. They encouraged me, and that was what got me off into the right direction. Then eventually, of course, I went to art school and all that, and then got into the animation business, worked with great people in the business, and learned. And still, even now in my late 60s, still learning. So I think most people have, like I said, an innate ability and to create and to draw and but then you work on the other stuff, the stuff that you're not so good at, or you work on those things and you get better and hopefully get you better and better and better. But realistically, what are you trying to do? You're creating from nothing. You're using your imagination. So what are you going to use your imagination on? What exactly are you doing? You have to stop and think. As an artist, what are you doing? You're communicating how you feel about the world around you, about the things that matter. Your creative ability is a platform for you to communicate how you feel. Musicians do this, sculptors, painters, writers, poets do it, And as visual artists, we're no different. We may work as painters creating fine art or sculpture, whatever, for museums or for art collectors. Or we may work in an industry where we're doing advertising that will allow us to use our skills. Or we work in the film industry and animation where we're able to also show off our skills. Um, so but learning all this stuff is what you really are hopefully trying to get to a place where, you have a certain skill set developed to a point where you feel like you're a competent artist. I like to think of myself as being a competent artist. Maybe not the greatest, not this or that. There's some people, we give them a lot more credit because they have a lot of great accomplishments. So, we may say, oh, well, so and so is very, that he or she is on the top of the food chain or whatever. And most of them will probably say that they're not. We artists, try our best to be more or less a humble bunch, or we like to think we are. Some of us are, some of us aren't, but the reality of the situation is we all kind of down in our gut know that you're only as good as, as your last effort, more or less. And so, you want to work at being as good as you can be. So, so you kind of, most of us kind of like to think, hey, well, I could always be a little better, which is usually true. And so that's a learning process, is it not? You know. So anyway, I would just encourage all of you to don't think that you can take the easy path and think that that's all you need to do. Don't be in such a hurry to just think, oh, okay, well, if I do this and this and this and this, that'll get me to point Z a lot quicker. Well, okay, maybe it will. But, Yeah, that's once again, that's really your choice. If you don't want to put the effort in, if you don't want to put the time in, then I guess that's what you're not going to do that. Nobody's going to force you to do it. But if you want to be really good, if you want to, then you need to just keep putting the effort in. And the more effort you put in, the better you're going to be. And even when you reach a certain level of proficiency and competency, you're still going to find that there's still going to be opportunity for you to be better. I mean, I'll be 70 years old this year, and I consider myself still to be a student, an art student, and I'm still learning. And I still do life drawing. I don't go to classes with life models, but I would. The only reason why I don't go to because there's not a lot out near here where I live. There are some places I could go, but it's a bit of a drive. So usually, what I do is I draw from a lot of online sources. I think I mentioned to you that there's I think it's called I want to say New Artist Academy or something like that. It's a website that they have models. They photograph models, and they will have like sessions. So like if it's it's a life drawing session, then they'll show a photo of a model, and it'll be up for a minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. And it's simulating the idea of having a live model pose for you for however long, and you do the quick poses, and then you do the longer poses and all that wonderful stuff. And that's a good thing to do to just kind of get you limber, keep your skills up, because you need to it's almost just like, it's really kind of like exercise. The more of it you do, the better you're gonna be. Just keep you artistically in shape. Not too much on like keeping your weight under control. Not too much different from that. Let's see. Okay. There we go. I always like to do at least one. Well, it seems like I'm on the binge of doing color images almost every time. I don't mind doing that. I kind of like it. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. Of course, the one bad thing about doing some of these is sometimes you got these open-ended lines, so I can't just leave them that way because then the color won't fill in. So then I gotta make sure I close off all these lines, otherwise the color will just zip out of it. Let's see. Yep, see. Clearly there's some open spaces in there somewhere. Let's see. I'll get up close and I can see them. Let's see. Oops. It's just that I don't like doing lines and closing everything off all the time because I think it ends up looking kind of flat. Let's see. And some stuff, it's like even when you butt the line up, it's still um, an open line. You don't realize it. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. It still must be. Oh, okay. Can't always tell until I get real close on these things that I can kind of tell. Like, oh yeah, that line is open. Ah, there we go. Oh, good. Okay. Well, this was the only part that I thought was going to be a problem because, yeah. And even then, I still got to kind of go back and see. Maybe I can take the curse. Let's see. So I'm trying to keep it from being too clunky looking. Let's see, maybe. Yeah. It's not too bad. Okay, let's see. So, skin color. Okay, that went well. Oh, okay. Let's see what's going on this time here. All right. And, oh, yeah, that's right. So we need to fill this in. We'll use red because I think that's going to be the color. Okay, and then same thing here and here. Right. Okay, so we'll see whether that's filled in or not. It is. Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay. Um. I just kind of like to put a background color. See, I know it's going to be white in the eyes, but let's see. We'll do blue. All right. So turn that off. We'll go. It's a blue rectangle, and we'll fill that in behind the guy. Oh, that's right. So all of that's white. So back up to there. There's whites in the eyes. And we'll zoom in close for the eye. For that. For the highlights in the eyes. There we go. Alrighty. And there we go. Our cartoon drawing for the day. All right then, folks. Well, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, if you guys want me to draw something, let me know what to draw. And like I said, if you'd like a commission, feel free to drop it in an email. Let me know. My email will be posted below. Also, my sketchbooks that I sell right now. That's the one merch that I've been selling. I will be creating some new merch at some point. Actually, used to have some back in the day, but I don't seem to have any more left. Any whoosies, you have a great day, folks. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Remember, Jesus is Lord.